It depends. We do it in 50 pounds, little plants. It all depends on what you want to do. Realistically, a 50-pound box of this would do 1,600 plants. And that runs around $300 for 1,600 plants. But, you know, what a deal. I mean, it's like giving yourself extra insurance, not to mention your cost. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about tissue-cultured virus index plants. Now, I got a raspberry plant right here, which is a tissue-cultured raspberry plant. What that means, it was not grown by a cane. Okay? What's the difference between this plant and a cane? Like if you bought this bare root cane of raspberry, what's the difference? Well, first of all, it doesn't have a cane, does it? There's no cane, that ugly-looking thing. And what do you got in there? You got one plant? No. So when you buy one of our plants, you're not buying a plant. You're buying a clump of plants. Because tissue culture plants grow by the cell. Okay? There's a difference between buying a plant or a tissue culture plant. A tissue culture plant also comes up by multiple stem. You see that plant? If I was going to do a cutting, I would take a piece of that plant, root it, and I've got this stick. Okay, then I have to whack it back, and I get a plant. That's called a rooted cutting. Rooted cutting is not a tissue culture. First of all, if any of the mother plant has a virus or disease, I'm getting the disease or virus with the daughter plant. That makes sense. And plus the fact, I've got to put it in the ground. That means I'm subject to any viruses or nematodes in the soil. And then I'm going to dig it up in the fall, put it in cold storage, and I'm going to deteriorate 50% of my roots. So when I get the plant in the spring, I've already lost half my roots, which means I've got to cut off the top. But there's one major difference. I've got a multiple stem plant from the get-go, not a stick. As a result, I have a faster growing plant that disperses its growing in a higher yield plant because I have more branching. Does that make any sense to you? That's the difference between a rooted-cutting plant and a tissue-cultured plant. Okay, and a lot of people don't know the difference. That's because Grandpa was buying bare root 35 years ago, and of course he still can't figure out how to use a cell phone. That's not to say that Grandpa's stupid. What that's saying is that without technology and without the USDA, you'd all be starving to death. You just don't know it. When you go buy an apple at the store, you see those little stickers you got to peel off? Who's gone to buy an apple? At the grocery store. I know you bought an apple. Every apple, you got that little stupid sticker on there, don't you? So what's the purpose of the USDA? Develop a better plant, more disease resistance, better storage, and higher yield. That's the purpose of the USDA. They're not there because they love you. They're there to feed you. You have any idea what's going to happen in New York City if they don't have food for a week? Got to get out of town real quick. That's assuming you can get out of town, because I got news. You have a heck of a time getting out of New York with no food there for a week. So the purpose of the USDA is to develop a higher quality food that produces more. And that's why most of the blueberry bushes we sell today didn't exist 25 years ago. Okay? So that's not to say that the older varieties weren't good. They were. But we continually improve and improve and improve. Go out and talk to a corn farmer how far they're going to get without Roundup Ready corn. Now, some people don't like Roundup Ready corn. Well, if we didn't have Roundup Ready corn, half the world would be starving to death. Now, that's not to say that chemicals are good. One good thing about blueberries is that you can do them organically. As a matter of fact, every plant we have on the premise is organically grown. We've never seen a pesticide, a fungicide, or insecticide. And when we do use something, we use an organic oil base, which is what we do. So if you have a quality plant, you don't have to have a disease problem. So blueberries don't require a lot of pesticides or fungicides. Matter of fact, we've never used one. In the history of the company, we've never used a pesticide, period. Now, down here in the Arkansas area, there are some problems with crown borer. And they're around. And what crown borer is something on blackberries that you got to get out there in the fall and you got to do a preventive maintenance spray. And you can get that information from going into the University of Arkansas website. And there's all kinds of information there on crown borer. You've got to do a preventive maintenance spray for crown borer on blackberries. Okay, if you don't, you're setting yourself up. You got to be very, very careful. If you don't want to buy your plants from us, buy from a certified lab. Any certified with a nematode inspection, don't buy it. Don't get out of the farmer's market and buy something from you guys who happen to have 300 in the back of a pickup truck. No, 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 no. Particularly if you're going to spend any money. Because you're not going to get the yield. You may not even get the variety that you think. Most growers have to be licensed and certified.